Hey everyone, it's the Manga Viewer, and today we'll be talking about what will happen in My Hero Academia chapter 350. And I'm telling you, this manga is going exactly as I'm predicting, so that's pretty awesome. I want to remind you, this is a spoiler video, so if you're not caught up with the manga, proceed with your own caution, you have been warned. And if you enjoy my content, feel free to join the channel or thumbs up this video, both is a great option. Alright, without further ado, let's get on. So the last chapter ended up on a really high note with Dabi telling to Shoto is basically, should I tell you my real backstory? Because what we got eventually was not the whole backstory. And if you remember a while ago, I predicted that Dabi was actually healed by All For One or Dr. Shigaraki. So it was really interesting to see that chapter ending on a high note. But what's going to happen in the next chapter? Well, before I start talking about my theories, I want to tell you some impressive details in the chapters that probably some of you haven't noticed. The prosthetic leg that Miruko have is actually a real invention in real life. I don't know what it's called, but I think it's like the rabbit leg or something, where basically people can jump and walk faster. So it was really interesting to see Horikoshi blending reality with his manga, and I feel like that's pretty interesting. The second thing is basically the arm that's placed on Miruko, the gun one. It's kind of like a nod to Bakugo and how both of them are actually pretty similar. I know a lot of you have been waiting for a Bakugo Miruko team up, because in the team up mission manga, this have actually happened. So it's really interesting to see the main manga doing the same thing, and the side manga, which is the team up missions, also doing the same thing. I recommend you checking it out. So, about the theories of the next chapter, I feel like it's going exactly as I'm telling you, because Horikoshi Sensei likes to focus on multiple fights at the same time. Like we would be like, for example, Deku and Shigaraki will be fighting, and then he will move on to like All For One or Dabi. And that's exactly what has he been doing. From the start of the manga, I told you, like, he divided them like into parts, because he will actually divide that and show that. And in the war arc, it actually happened. The same thing have actually happened. So I feel like the next chapter will either be like staying on the Dabi side and explaining like some of his backstory, and then it will shift to All For One talking to Endeavor about Dabi's backstory and how he helped him and all of that. I feel like that will be pretty interesting, and it would sync so well, especially if Horikoshi Sensei does like a double page spread with like half of Dabi's face on the right side and half of All For One's face on the left side. I feel like that would be too fantastic, and that would be amazing. So I feel like that's what's going to happen. Or the chapter will immediately shift to All For One and exactly, talk about him and what exactly is going on. Now, from All For One point of perspective, he wants to get back to Shigaraki so he can connect with him. And as All Might stated, that they should be like at least 80 kilometers away from each other so they can like sync in some sort of way, like so they can fuse or something. So I feel like All For One priority right now is to get rid of all those heroes and get back to Shigaraki. It's an 80 kilometers, run, but I feel like All For One is kind of like All Might, so he's pretty fast. He's probably got like a propelling quirk or something that he can use so he can fly there. He probably also added a couple of quirks to himself, so, he can predict the unpredictable, I guess. So I feel like he will start by breaking down the heroes and kind of like breaking down the hearts of the heroes, because we have to remember we have Hawks, who's basically grows back his wings. He tried to attack All For One, but it didn't work since his helmet is too stubborn. Like, we know All Might unleashed a United States smash on him to just break the freaking helmet. So his helmet is pretty strong. So I feel like he's gonna try to, break down Endeavor and Hawks, especially by telling them the backstory of Hawks and, maybe what happened to his family and stuff. And for Endeavor, by like telling him the rest of Dabi's story. And I feel like if All For One himself and Dabi can like go back to back and explain the backstory, it would be so insane. It would fit so perfect. In the end, do I think like they're gonna beat All For One? I doubt that they will be able to beat him, but maybe if like they work in some sort of like a team up way, if they have a plan under their sleeves, because we have to understand that we didn't see the full plan of the heroes. All Might didn't, talk about the whole plan, and even we, the readers, don't know about the whole plan. So it would be interesting to see kind of like the heroes dividing into parts and seeing exactly where they should be. Like, for example, in the Deku versus Shigaraki part, they put him in a really like high place so that no destruction should be, falling and anything, and they put the heroes who can repair stuff so his decay won't, work or something. And I think that's pretty interesting. So it would be interesting to see what they want to do for All For One. And since All Might have fought him a lot of times before, we will probably know like what exactly his quirk is and maybe how the way they're going to defeat him. and I think that would be pretty interesting, combining the heat power of Endeavor with the speed of Hawks, and Edgeshot and all those heroes, because we know Edgeshot is pretty fast. Maybe he can transport like with the Hawks feathers, and he kind of like does like a sneak attack on All For One. I think that would be pretty interesting and a really cool team up, similar to like kind of like how Luffy and Law did the team up for Doflamingo. I think that would be pretty interesting. So about Dabi's backstory, what do I think about like the whole scenario? I feel like after Dabi assumed to be dead, All For One probably went there and rescued him. And I feel like Dabi and, you know, Shigaraki are really close in terms of age, so he probably like brought him to, you know, Shigaraki, and they probably have became like best friends or became friends in some sort of way, because we actually know that Shigaraki cares about Dabi. When they came out of the portals and Dabi unleashed his flames, Shigaraki was like, yo, hold on, your skin is leaking, your skin is peeling off. So he's actually like kind of like worried about him. So I feel like they probably have grown together, or maybe they had, you know, a connection in some way. Maybe Dabi got trained by All For One or Dr. Garaki. Maybe he made like some experiments on him, and he like probably didn't give him a regeneration quirk because his body couldn't take it or anything, because we know actually like Dabi's body is not pretty strong, it's pretty weak, and we see at the end of the chapter his skin is peeling off, and all the MHA fandom are freaking out. They're like, please don't kill Dabi, and you know, we already know that. So I feel like it would be pretty interesting to see what that's supposed to be, but I feel like it's definitely like All For One and Dr. Garaki who can like heal Dabi. Maybe he like wandered off alone, and you know, walked slowly until he fall like on the door of All For One, or like fallen on the street, and All For One picked him up. And it will be pretty interesting to see the moment where basically All For One helped Shigaraki and tell him like, no one came here to save you, here is my hand, take my hand. And the same thing happens when he like tells Dabi like, you can beat All Might, and kind of like convinced him in this sort of like false information. I feel like that would be pretty interesting to see. But what if the chapter like doesn't you know, explain the Dabi backstory? What if it immediately starts hitting on the, you know, All For One side? I feel like if that happens, All For One will use every triggering way that he has to kind of like convey the heroes that they are wrong and they can't beat him. Like maybe he will talk, you know, stuff about Endeavor and All Might, like you got beaten by All Might or something. And I think that would be pretty interesting to see. So I feel like those are like some of the parts that could happen in the next chapter. Or we could just like basically see Deku and him arriving at the Shigaraki place, although I doubt that. So I feel like the chapter in the end, like the final theories, it's either going to stay on the Dabi side and explain its full backstory and then shift to All For One, or maybe just, you know, stay on All For One side and go on full battle mode. So I feel like those are the theories. Anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have enjoyed this video, feel free to comment down below your thoughts, or thumbs up this video, or share it around if you want. Anyway, I have been the Manga Viewer, and I'll see you all next time. Johnny.